Today I'll be talking about Activision Blizzard and the practical applications of business intelligence, data mining, analytics, and big data within the company there. Activision Blizzard, for those who aren't familiar, is an American video game company and film holding company. It's based in Santa Monica, California. It was formed in 2008, July, through the merger of Activision and Vivendi Games, and has gone through a lot of iterations in its time as a company. It is one of the stocks in the S&P 500. It has 9,000 plus employees worldwide and 500 million monthly active users in 196 countries across all of its games. It is the largest game company in the Americas per revenue and market capitalization. The company structure, which will become prevalent as we discuss some of the different applications of business intelligence through the different pieces of the company. There's the Activision portion, which is the console games Call of Duty, Skylanders, among others. There's Blizzard, which is PC mobile games, which includes World of Warcraft, which is an MMORPG, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and Overwatch, which is a first-person shooter. So there's a whole gamut of different games that fall under that Blizzard category. King Digital Entertainment is largely mobile-focused with games like Candy Crush, Farm Heroes, and Bubble Witch. And then Major League Gaming, the fourth portion of the company structure, is a professional esports organization, which we'll touch a little bit on later on in the presentation. And lastly, there is Activision Blizzard Studios, which is original film and television content. Across all of the specific gaming platforms for Activision Blizzard, they create an enormous amount of data on the back end of their games, and the specific data is then collected and processed through these specific processes. They go with the ecosystem approach. So their high volume, unstructured internal gameplay data is passed through a Kafka network and stored in a Hadoop cluster with Cloudera. The data is examined by their employees using SQL or Python, and then visualizations for the data specifically are constructed through Tableau. The data is analyzed, and we'll speak to these in a little bit more detail, but it's analyzed on two levels: operational and strategic. Strategic value is where the company can be smarter about customers. This is kind of the experience, the customer experience, the gameplay experience. So the practical applications of mining all of this data and then speaking to how it affects strategic value for players. It can indicate where there are overpowered characters or classes. So if there is one particular character or class that is being played at a far higher volume than other particular characters and classes, maybe a closer examination of why that is. Unfair situations with gameplay, both positive and negative. So, for example, if a lot of players are spending an over average amount of time in a specific location, maybe examining why that is, or if there's a particular tactic or technique within the gameplay that is consistently being shown through the data, through positioning logs and all of those, where it can be a negative outcome for folks in that somebody's getting an unfair advantage. Even just the information as to where players are spending most of their time. So, for example, in the World of Warcraft, which is an MMORPG, there's a character creation screen. Within that screen, you can customize your character to be exactly how you want them to be, their looks, their race, all of those pieces. And if the determination is made that people are spending a lot of time on that character creation screen, there could be resources put towards increasing customization options, increasing different class and race options, so on and so forth. How are specific portions of the game being utilized? So having data about where folks, again, are spending a lot of time, how much gameplay is being dedicated to a certain level or a certain area or a certain particular style, can inform the decision as to how to shape that experience so it's dynamic for players, so people are really feeling like they are engaged fully. If everybody is going through the same channels and the same paths, thinking about how to balance things out where there's opportunity for growth and opportunity for new gameplay options so people feel refreshed and engaged. What are popular items, traits, and tendencies within the game? So what are the desirable things are particular mounts or pets within a specific game, or items that have a specific look? Are they what people are really aspiring to get? And how can more of these items be put into the game, or how can the path to these specific items be created such that it's increasing the desire for folks to log in and engage in microtransactions, which we'll speak to later, or maintain their subscriptions depending on the specific game. And then where are the bottlenecks in gameplay, right? So if we're speaking to, again, where are players spending most of their time, if there's a specific portion of the game, a specific level, a specific place where there is a high volume of player, an atypical volume of player that's shown through the data, is that a bottleneck? And is that a frustrating bottleneck? Is that where players are being lost? Do I get to level 50 on Candy Crush and it's just too hard to be beaten, and that's where I stop logging in, right? Those kind of questions are all pieces that can be pulled from the data that's mined in this ecosystem approach. And through the evaluation of those and maybe a little bit further examination of anomalies and different pieces, determinations can be made for where improvement for the player experience can happen. And I suppose the theory behind improvement for player experience would be tied specifically to what we're going to speak next, which is going to be the